Good afternoon, Lions. I am Trinity Goodall, and I'm here with a very special guest today, the one and only Roland Martin.
How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
All good.
So I just have a couple questions for you. So what got you interested in TV and news and television?
Actually, it was so when I was in eighth grade, had the opportunity we had to pick from all different magnet schools here in HISD. And so for me, it came down to law enforcement, criminal justice, and Yates School of Communications. And we had a newspaper when I was in elementary school, and I was a sports editor. And then we had a television project at William Holland Middle School, and when I was in the eighth grade. And plus my dad watched, tons of news a day, read the paper as well, and my parents were very much involved in our community. And so I naturally gravitated towards communications, primarily because of my interest in sports, but then of course that transition to news.
Okay. So when you were here at Yates, they had the communications
Yep.
program. Was it different from the one? How different was it from our
Well,
program?
we did in the old school. We had the original school. We had television studio, we had radio, and we had newspaper as well. At that time, so I graduated in 1987. You had more of an emphasis, obviously, on newspapers because newspapers and television, and so for a lot of folks, they focus just on the newspaper side. But for me, I wanted to study all of the mediums, and so when you were a freshman, you had to, in essence, declare your major. And so there were people who said, I just want to do newspaper, I just want to do television, I just want to do radio. But for me, I said I'm going to do all of them. And so television was primary. I had more television credits than anything else, but I still took the other mediums as well. And in fact, I had so many communications credits, they wouldn't let me take photography class. And at that time, photography was not a part of the School of Communications. It was a separate entity. And actually, that was the best thing because as when I went to college, I still did the exact same thing. Interned at a television station, worked at a radio station, worked at a newspaper. And then when I graduated, although I went into newspaper, I still did all different mediums. And so when the industry converged, so the first, but long before digital media, the first phrase was media convergence, where it all sort of came together. And I was one of the very few people who had already worked in all the mediums. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't afraid of it. I wasn't, oh my God, I'm scared to death of it. And it's served me well because in my career, yes, I mean, I've worked, 6 years at CNN, 13 years at TV One. I've run 3 black newspapers. I was a founding editor of BlackAmericaWeb.com, news editor at Savoy Magazine. And so there's no medium that I haven't actually been involved in.
Okay. So when you were working in CNN and TV One, what were some of your favorite highlights or experiences?
Well, actually, it really is not just at those places. I mean, so I've had the opportunity to interview 4 U.S. presidents, interview folks like Winnie Mandela. You can go across, whether you talk about, meeting Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, dealing with athletes, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, all kinds of different people. And so there really is no one thing. Of course, I could say, I just got back from the NAACP Image Awards, the 50th anniversary, and I won TV One's first Image Award with my interview with then Senator Barack Obama, then won their second one with the interview with Michelle Obama. And that was in 2007, 2008. And so I really don't look at just sort of one thing. I mean, it really has been a great career that I've been able just to go many different places, just talk to many different people, cover major stories, whether it's the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building that blew up in Oklahoma City, the Million Man March, any of the major events that we've had in my career over the last 20 plus years.
Okay. So when you get those different experiences and you get to talk to so many of these influential people, how does it make you feel?
Well, it's work. At the end of the day, it's work. But the most important thing is you have to be prepared. Mm-hmm. And the reality is you come across people every single day. And there's no such thing. And this is one of the things that I think that this school communications program was important, because what would happen is, just like today, there would be people who would come into the school and you don't know anything, you didn't realize they were going to be there, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're sitting down in front of a camera, or you're sitting here doing a radio interview, or you're doing something for a newspaper or online. And so you have to always be prepared. And that's the one thing that we were taught here. I've been in places where I've come up against people, and you got to be ready. I remember when I was a college student, and I had a project at Texas A&M, and I was a national student representative on the board of directors of the National Association of Black Journalists. And I get on the plane to fly back to Houston to go to College Station, and Carl Lewis is on the plane. And so I'm walking in first class, I see Carl Lewis, and I'm going, yo, I want to interview Carl Lewis. Now, a lot of students are scared to do that, so he's in first class, I'm sitting here in coach. I didn't want to, disturb him, because also, they want to keep away from first class, so I simply wrote a note and handed to the flight attendant, and I said, I need you to get this to Carl Lewis, who's sitting in first class. Okay. And he was asleep, and then when he eventually woke up, she handed him a note. And then when we got off the plane, he waited for me. And I was able to get his number, and then I eventually did the interview. The reason I'm saying that is you have to always be ready. You do not know when you're going to come across somebody. You don't know what that situation is. You have to be aware of what's happening in the news, because if something is happening in the news, then you come across someone. Well, if you just simply allow them, to keep moving, then you missed the opportunity. You've missed a potential breaking news story. You've missed your shot. And so that's a mistake I think a lot of people make. When Michael Jackson died, I was on vacation in Jamaica, and I'm walking across the street coming from the gym there. Guy yells out of his car, it's said about Michael Jackson. I said, what do you mean? The guy says, oh, Michael Jackson's dead. And we had heard all these different rumors. And so I immediately went to my hotel room, pulled it up. I'm seeing on CNN, talking about Michael Jackson. Well, I knew his brother, Marlon Jackson. I immediately called Marlon, and Marlon, is this true? Now, CNN was still quoting TMZ. I immediately called Marlon. Marlon confirms his brother's dead. I told CNN, it's true. So for CNN, so here I am a contributor. I confirmed the death of Michael Jackson to CNN. They were still quoting TMZ. Okay? So having those relationships are important. Which is why, again, you have to always be attuned and aware, where you might be sitting here with classmates and y'all doing whatever, and then when someone comes in, you have to have a switch that you turn off and turn on, where all of a sudden it's go time, it's work time, not about school, not about playtime, whatever. And luckily I had teachers and even principals who, when folks came here, they understood what we were trying to do. And so if it meant missing the next class, do the interview, they would take care of that because they understood why that was important. But the point is, you have to always be mentally prepared. You can't be in a situation where you say, oh, I'm on vacation. Oh, I'm here with friends. Oh, I'm here with family. When the reality is, in the news business, news never sleeps. Something happens. If you are here in Houston and it's Monday, and then all of a sudden you are out somewhere and then you see an entertainer, you don't know if that person knew Nipsey Hussle. So what do you simply do? Oh, I might want to be asking them some questions, because again, that's understanding opportunity. And so if there's anything that every student here, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, has to understand, that in this business, there really is no off switch. When something happens, there has to be a switch that is in your head, that is in your body, where you're always prepared. That's why, for me, and again, what I was taught here is that I am always thinking ahead. And so perfect example. I guarantee you, if you asked any student in this classroom, ask any teacher, how many times have you been out and your phone died? Okay, meaning you have no juice. Okay, so what then happens? You're somewhere, you come across somebody, and it's like, oh my goodness, man, I wish I could shoot this interview. I wish I had my phone was working with video. For me, I don't leave the house without thinking that way. I'm always have backup juice. I'm gonna always have a cable in the car, but I'm always have my Mophie. I'm not going to be caught in a situation where it's like, oh, dang, I wish I had this here. Because the reality is, this is a newsroom. I can sit here and shoot the video. I got an app on my phone where I can drop my show logo on the app. I can immediately upload that thing. And again, it's being aware of that. When I was in Selma for the 50th anniversary, Diane Nash, who was one of Dr. King's lieutenants, she refused to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge because George W. Bush also was walking. She says, I don't walk with warmongers. I sat there, interviewed her with a Canon ELPH camera, did the interview with her with that, SD cards in the camera. She said that I immediately popped that card out, hopped into the car, grabbed my iPad, uploaded that video to YouTube, and within an hour, that interview, unbeknownst to me, was on Fox News. But again, that's you always being aware of the situation. And so all of that was what we were actually, so the foundation of that, what we were taught here. And I simply built upon that in my career. And that's why I tell any student here, don't, and this is the most important thing I'm probably going to say right now, don't play with this. Do not play with this. Don't think that, oh, this is no big deal. I need you to understand that when you talk about what was different, the reality is, for my 4 years there, we did not have a fully operational studio. We were fighting. Our control room was not fully operational. We were just simply making it work. Most of our stuff were field shoots, okay? We didn't sit here. Our edit bays were not fully operational. So you're sitting here, and I need you to understand, you're sitting here in a studio right now that's actually better than the studio I do my digital show from. And so when I say don't waste this, I'm talking about the ability to be able to interview. I'm talking about the ability to be able to do graphics. Okay, the ability to be able to operate camera, the ability to be able to edit, the ability to be able to upload and understand lighting and all of those different things, to understand how the control room works and how radio and digital. Don't waste it, because the 4 years here, so what grade are you in?
12th grade.
The 4 years I was here, when I went to Texas A&M, I was more advanced than the seniors at Texas A&M who were in journalism. So 4 years at Yates was essentially my undergraduate years. College was actually, in many ways, a step down in terms of what I learned at the university, which is why I created my own curriculum outside of the university. That's why I worked at the local TV station, local radio station, local newspaper to get a different level of experience. And so everything here, everything that I've done in my career, the foundation of that was here. And so you have to come in here every single day, every day saying, this is what I want to learn. I mean, I walked on this campus and I said, point blank, I will be the best student to come out of this school, not just up until the point where I graduated in '87, but even afterwards. My state of mind was that, so I graduated in '87, so you're talking about 32 years ago. My state of mind then was that I'm going to be the best graduate who has ever come out of this school. That means anybody before me, with me, and after me, which meant I had a focus to learn everything, to master everything, to understand how it all works. And so even to this day, I can sit here and run that camera. I can run a control room. I can produce. I can write. I can edit. I can field shoot. I can host. I can executive produce. But that all started here and how I operated every single day. I did not believe in it. For me, when it came to School of Communications, I had no days off. For me, it was game on every single day. I'm going to maximize every opportunity, because when you go to college, you're paying for that. Your parents' tax dollars are paying for this. And so every student in this program should have that exact same mentality. That is, I am going to learn everything to put myself in a position to where I will always be employable.
Okay. So How important is it to network in this industry?
Oh, it's critical. The reality is, most jobs are a result of who people know. It's not a job being posted on a website or on the board. No, it's who folks know. And so it's relationships, who you know, who you connect with, beyond just jobs, but also when it comes to investing. I mean, there are people who I'm talking to right now who want to invest in my media company. That's a result of relationships. I was here in Houston 2 years ago in December of 2017 when I had an opportunity. I was at an event Congressional Black Caucus Foundation had at TSU, where I got a chance to meet Robert Smith. Robert Smith, who I found out was a fellow Alpha Phi Alpha member. He also is the richest black man in America, worth $4 billion. Okay, and we were able to connect, and we still text, we still talk, still communicate to this day, still have done business. And so imagine if I'm at that reception. And again, this is what I was trying to say to some students earlier. You don't allow the moment to get away from you. You don't allow, barriers. I don't care if he was surrounded by 10 bodyguards. I was going to get to him. Did not matter. See, again, that's state of mind. And so what I say the same thing here. You don't let any dignitary walk into this building. Now, understand what I'm saying. I didn't say walk into this class. Walk into this building and not understand. Okay, this phone is ringing right now, and this guy here is a business partner, Master P, who I connected with, who done stuff before. Okay. It's all about relationships. And so when I say state of mind, I did not allow any dignitary to come onto this campus, and if I was aware they were here, then I did not connect with them. Now, first, when it came to, if they came on and we would need to shoot something, I was the first person the principal called. Why? Because I was the best television student. 2, I was dependable. 3, they knew I can get the job done. So my work ethic caused the officials here to know that if somebody needed to be interviewed, we're going to call Roland first. If I played around and didn't put the work in, that never happened. The other thing is, again, for me, I'm not letting them walk on this campus and not connect with them. We had a career day here, and understand that things also manifest themselves later. It's not always about what can I get out of them tomorrow. 1985, we had a career day. I was a junior, and guy comes into the campus. It was 85, 86 school year. Guy comes into the campus. It was 2 people in our class. Coach Murphy, later principal of Yates, who passed away. It was his government class. Guy comes in, and so one woman, she's Asian. She was a municipal judge here in Houston. He was white male, had an import-export business, and then he says that he also was the former chair of Texas Republican Party. So it's time to ask questions. All the students just sitting there, nothing to say. They want this thing to end. So I go, what the hell? I raise my hand. I'm peppering him with questions. I'm hitting him with questions. I'm sure he was probably thinking, I don't know who this little black kid is asking me all these political questions. I'm asking him about Reagan's policies, different things along those lines. Why? Because my dad watched the news. I read the newspaper as well, so I was up on issues. Coach asked me to walk him to his next class, which I did. We got a chance to talk, know each other. He was greatly impressed. He said, man, my daughter goes to TCU, is a journalism major. They could use a student like you. I'm going to let them know they should recruit you. I'm like, okay, great. Stayed in contact with him. Remember, this is 1986. Okay. Fast forward 3 years. I'm at Texas A&M. We're trying to go to the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in New York. We don't have any money. We broke these students, these black students. So we send 30 letters to foundations across Texas. We got 29 rejection letters. And one day we got a letter, and the letter was like, glad to see you still involved in communications, and closes a $1,000 check that hopefully will help you all get to the convention, signed George Strait. George Strait was the guy in that classroom. And so that money allowed us to pay for our hotel rooms. Why is that important? Because at that convention, I ran for the board of directors of NABJ as a national student representative. At that convention is where I met most of the people. Nearly every job that I've had has been a result of the relationships from that convention. Now, let's walk this back. So what if I didn't ask questions in that classroom? I would not have had an opportunity to impress him. I would not have had an opportunity to meet him one-on-one and get his number. I didn't know that was his foundation. But because he remembered what happened in the classroom, that's how we got the $1,000 check. But let me take it even further. What if I didn't watch the news and read the newspaper? That means I couldn't have asked questions. So again, I'm trying to walk you back. If I didn't do the stuff in the 7th and the 8th and the 9th and the 10th and 11th grade, I would not have been in position to ask him questions and not been able to impress him, not been able to meet him, not been able to cause him to say, man, that's a bright kid. Which meant that when that letter hit his foundation, he would have looked at it and likely tossed it because it meant nothing. Which means you gotta put the work in, even when no one is looking or paying attention, because when the opportunity presents itself, then that's when you seize upon it. That's what networking is.
Okay. So another question that I have is that, do you have any advice for any students in the program now that are, on their way to college? Do you have any?
It's the same. Yes, it's the exact same advice that I would have for any student who wants to major in anything, and that is 2 most important words: work ethic.
Work ethic. I like
The
that.
fundamental problem with people today, especially students, and it's not, oh my goodness, millennials, Gen Y. No, it was the same thing when I was a student. Work ethic. If you have no work ethic, you will not be a success. The people who fail are the people who have no work ethic. The folks who don't put in the work, who don't put in the time, who don't stay extra. Look, football games. I didn't go to the games to cheer the football game. We shot the games. It was work. I didn't go to other sporting events. That was work. We stayed after school for a program, shot in the auditorium. That was work. Okay? Packing the gear, double checking to make sure everything is there. So when you get out on the field, oh, I left that. That's work. Staying late, work. All of that is why I have been able to do what I've done. That's why I've made $1 million in a year. That's why I'm still in demand. That's why I can still get members of Congress and presidential candidates on my show, because of the work ethic. If you don't put the work in, you are not going to succeed. And that, unfortunately, is what too many students don't pay attention to. The people who go, oh, I would love to do what you do so I can see who you met. And oh my goodness, you were there Saturday, and you were there with Chadwick Boseman and Michael P. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, and you were there, oh my goodness, and you were Viola Davis and Kerry Washington and Sanaa Lathan and oh my goodness, all these people. Yes, but the work ethic is what got me there. The networking is what got me there. And it doesn't stop. I'm sitting on the floor, I see Sterling K. Brown, say, Sterling, love to do a one-on-one with you, boom, here's my number. Mike Epps, is this still your number? Oh, it's my old number. Boom, here's my new number. Work ethic. I wasn't at the Image Award just to enjoy the show. I was on the floor working. That's the difference, work ethic.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Cool.
your time. And I appreciate all that you've done and all the information that you gave to us today. And that's all the time that we have.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Whenever you get a chance, please come back, because I really enjoyed interviewing you today. Thank you, Lions. That's all that we have for today. Have a wonderful day.
Clear?